This is the French Chauchat. It's a piece of garbage, don't worry about it. Or is it? Is it the worst gun ever made? The French Chauchat, named after French Colonel Louis Chauchat, the main contributor of its design, it was the standard machine rifle, or light machine gun as we now call it, of the French army during World War I. Its official designation being Fusil Militaire Modèle 1915 CSRG. Beginning in June 1916, it was placed into regular service with the French infantry, where troops called it the FM Chauchat. The Chauchat machine rifle was rimmed in 8mm Lebel cartridges. It was actually extensively used in the summers of 1917 all the way down to the war's end of 1918 by the American Expeditionary Force. It was officially designated the automatic rifle model 1915 Chauchat. The total number of Chauchats ever produced was 2,000. A total of 262,000 machine rifles were ever manufactured between December 1915 and November 1918, including 2,244 calibered in 8mm Lebel service cartridge, making it the most widely manufactured automatic rifle of World War I. The armies of the 8 nations, including Belgium, Finland, Greece, Italy, Poland, Romania, Russia, and even Serbia, also used the Chauchat machine gun to fairly large numbers during and after World War I. The Chauchat machine rifle was one of the first light automatic rifle calibered weapons designed to be carried and fired by one single person, maybe an assistant if you're going prone, without a heavy tripod or a team of gunners. It set the precedent of several subsequent 20th century firearms projects, being a portable yet fully powered automatic weapon being built inexpensively and in large numbers. The Chauchat combined a pistol grip and an inline stock, detachable magazine, and a selective fire capability in a compact package to a manageable weight of 20 pounds for a single soldier. Furthermore, it could be routinely fired from the hip while walking, which is where walking fire comes into play with the American Expeditionary Force and where the legend all began. So the US perspective, right off the bat, the French tried to make all their rifles in 8mm Lebel cartridges, which would ease production and spare ammo, which was the most common automatic rifle of the First World War, and being from France, it would always be chambered in 8mm Lebel cartridge. Most, however, were converted to the nation's standard cartridge, and that's where the problem lies, especially with the 30-06 Springfield round. The chambers were rimmed incorrectly, causing malfunctions and other problems. And that, coupled with the fact that when they were not rejected outright, they were sent to US troops to train with. The original Chauchat Lebel would actually work quite well, but the 13-06 box magazine was actually a whole nother story. So their impressions were formed by the 30-06 version instead of the 8mm Lebel cartridge, which they thought was weak, but it was actually basically kind of the same stopping power as the 30-06. But that is where the myth of the worst gun comes from, being jammed, rimmed, and doing everything incorrectly, especially with the box magazine, which was not fitted to go with the Chauchat's design, making it all a mess. And also, another feature of the Chauchat that would actually come quite cumbersome when you did have an 8mm Lebel: the holes, or the rim around the whole magazine. A good weapon designed to show how much ammo you had left. Teams of 2 would be tasked with this gun. The idea that the gunner could focus on the targets while the ammo bearer would see the magazine getting low and switch out if needed. But the trenches of World War I brought its problems. Mud, and blood. When you talk about Flanders fields, trench warfare, any type of problem like that, even all the rifles, even the best rifles like the Gewehr, suffered from mud problems. And of course, being an open magazine meant that mud would get into the receiver and the magazine itself and basically jam, and it was basically a hassle to clean anyway for French, American, Belgium, and whoever troops wield the Chauchat machine gun. So to keep it clean was basically a nightmare. The open hole magazine is where another one of these myths comes from, but if it was dry terrain, say like Arthos or even the Somme, Chauchat works perfect. Jamming and overheating. While not uncommon with most machine guns, since this was a stamped metal gun like the Sten gun, it was prone to heat rising, which also makes things expand, so it caused the jackets of the bullets to expand, and after about 200 to 300 rounds of continuous expansion, the ejection ports were actually too small for the cartridges to actually go through. So you will actually have to wait about 10 to 20 minutes for it to cool back down, and then everything would work as planned. Also, Another feature was the Chauchat's slow and ridiculously slow fire rate. It wasn't exactly a machine gun, it was actually designated a automatic rifle, so its volume of fire was still greater than a Lebel or Guerrier bolt action rifle, which could only shoot one round at a time and still had 8 to 5 rounds, while the Lebel had 20 and could expend them still quicker than a Lebel or Guerrier. After the armistice of November the 11th, 1918, the French military decided to upgrade to a more reliable light squad automatic weapon, which was to be designed and manufactured nationally. Experimentation was carried out by the manufacturers, the Armée de Château-Laurent, and began in the early 1920s, culminating in the adoption of the new light machine gun, the Fusilier Militaire, the FMMLE, which is Fusilier Militaire Model 1924, which is a gas-operated and used a 7.5 rimless cartridge, which would evolve into the 7.5 by 54mm French cartridge, used throughout World War II and all the way up to Algeria, even still in the FAMAS up to this day. This finally corrected all the problems associated with the Chauchat, and manufactures of large numbers began, and by World War II it was manufactured in large numbers, and it was widely used by the French army until the late 1915s. So next time you see a Chauchat, please cover the magazine, and please don't make it straight, and please don't use 30-06, and of course, let Wiseman, and of course leave it to Henchman and Hallen said. Trust me, they know how to work a Chauchat. It's not a piece of garbage. Alright, thanks for watching. Terrible American accent. Hope you learned something. I think this would be a fan favorite, but learn something, of course.